Greetings and salutations to all my dignitaries. As we know that today's function is not just dedicated to the rule of law and justice in modern society. Apart from that, what we are going to discuss about today is not a topic entirely based on law, but it also demarcates the developments which can be made by law and the current legal order. Hence, we can say that today's lecture is divided into two phases. In the first phase, I shall introduce you to the complexities and the complications of a legal order, the importance of the constitution. And in this second phase, I will be talking about the possible improvements which can be made in this sector. Since we know that the legal order and the sector of law has vast implications on the society, we also need to deal with complete and absolute intrinsic and inquisitive nature about the various things that law and the study of law has to offer to the mankind today. What and how do we define society? Whenever we talk about society, we don't just mean a group of people selected randomly and put in place. By society, we mean a group of people who are defined by a system. They are defined by definite rules and regulations. There are many societies in the world. How do we differentiate between them? We can't be racist, so we can't say that white and black should be the distinguishing factors for a society. The differences in a society is actually in the rules that govern the society, in the rules that the society holds for itself. For example, there could be societies in which women veiling their face is not allowed and it's even against the law. So we say that it's society number one because a law is defining this society. If we talk about societies where putting on veil is actually in fashion and it's absolutely guaranteed by law and even made compulsory by customs and traditions, then again we can say that this is a different society. Why? Because the laws of this society are different. Hence, we can say that laws vary all over societies. So, we can say that laws form the basis for distinguishing one society from the other. But who makes these laws? Of course, it's the people in general who make the laws. But what if a society is entirely governed by people with dark mindset? Hence, there are some basic laws, some basic ethics which came into being along with the development of civilization. When we talk about the development of a civilization, then it's not just about modernization of the people dwelling there. It's also about the modernization of law that exists in the society. About a proper definition of law, hence, whenever we attempt to define law, we can't just say that it's a set of rules that governs a society. What we mean by a law is an ethical set of rules that cannot just be followed but also easily interpreted and easily executed by the members of the same society on which we hold the law legal. Hence, we can say that it's not the people's functions, their cultures, their races, their identities that tell them who they are. It's the laws they hold good for themselves that determine how good the society is and how much of a strong hold the law has on the society. Hence, we can say that since law is the very basis of society, we can't just say that it could be a set of random rules. Of course, if something is meant to define the other, it needs to be a bit more complex. It needs to dive a lot deeper into the mindsets of the people. It needs to talk to the people. It needs to make the people understand how they're supposed to live together in harmony. Hence, we say that a law doesn't just bind the people as a force. It's not just a moral regulator, It's also a legal regulator. It's also the regulator of their ethics. It's also the regulator of what, how, and why they practice what they do. Hence, a law is not just a nominal rule or a nominal book which is written down. No constitution in the world is a nominal book. It's a book which is ethically guided by basic moral principles. And the principles are not just basic, they are actually executed. And whatever I'm talking about is nothing but the substratum of law as we have it today. So, this was a little introduction to the foundation of law. How, with the growth and development of civilizations, law became and came to be of utmost necessity. Since people had to be governed in some way, I would like to give you an example why law is important. And after that, we shall talk about the constitution, and finally, we'll be talking about the improvements which can be made in current legal order. So, firstly, let's talk about why laws are important. H.E. Gardner mentioned in the rules of the road, on the rules of the road, that a woman who's walking randomly on the road and someone does ask her to walk on the footpath. Then she says that no, I won't walk on the footpath. And when she was interrogated about the reason, she said it's because we all have liberty now, so I don't think I need to walk on the footpath. I can just walk randomly anywhere because liberty means liberty. I can exercise my rights randomly in a zigzag way, and no one has the right to teach me how I got to exercise them. So, yes, she just started walking randomly on the roads. But if she has the liberty to walk randomly on the roads, doesn't the driver of the vehicle coming from the opposite direction have the liberty to push her and go ahead on his path without trying to change or alter it at all? So, is this the definition of liberty? If we talk about the archaic principles of law, in which liberty, equality, and fraternity were guaranteed to people of all sections, how would we interpret this particular incident? Because if liberty is universally guaranteed and gifted to people, then it would create chaos. Then what's the rule of such a law? It's not the rule of law, it's actually misuse of law in an extremely haphazard direction. Hence, we can state that just three rules, liberty, equality, fraternity, are not laws. They are just basic ethical moral codes of conduct. Law is much, much deeper than them, and it has a lot more to exercise. Now, how do we interpret that incident when the lady was using liberty in a wrong way? Of course, we know that she was using it in a wrong way, but she was using a legally guaranteed thing in a wrong way. So, how do we bind